I climbed up the ladder. It was cold, and there was a fresh breeze from the east. I was going north, but I got the idea to stop by Blockport's house and replenish the most necessary things. I thought a lot about who George was, and if maybe he came from the little village of Hillside, or if he was from somewhere else. Blockport had not mentioned him in the writings she had made before that one piece of paper at the old library. Perhaps time would give me an answer to who he was. First, I had to get my airship over the mountain, and then a simple overnight stay in Hotel Blockport. Then I could go up north and see what kind of place she wrote about. When I woke up the next day, it hit me that I both hated and loved this place. I could do without the cold climate and the sour neighbor, but the other two villages I have been to were good enough, and there was plenty of room to build on. If it had only been a little warmer, I might have stayed. What am I talking about? I would to go home as soon as I got the chance. I sat down in the armchair in front of the bookshelf. I could almost hear the sad music for me, as if it were another play. Get yourself together, I thought, and packed my bag. And then it was up north with me. I hope it works with that crystal. I don't think my head will hold up to more adventures. First, I take advice from a statue, and then I doubt whether I should stay. And this is at the same time that I am chasing a girl I have never met and who apparently left a long time ago. I had to come home soon. It must be all the snow that's driving me crazy. Suddenly, one of my engines stopped. I crashed. I was out of fuel. I looked around for something I could use. Then I made a small camp and went out to find resources so I could get on my way. When I got back to the camp, it was getting dark, so I hurried to do what I needed and get ready to sleep. The next day, I woke up to find that a child had slipped aboard my airship. I asked him what he was doing there, and he said,
I just wanted a place to sleep. I ran when my mother was taken by a zombie, so I ran. And when I saw the airship, I thought I could spend the night there, and then I could find someone to help me. Will you help me, sir?
I couldn't just leave him there, so I suggested he come with me until we found somewhere he could be. As we flew, I asked if he didn't have a father now that his mother was no longer here. He answered quite quickly.
My father disappeared several years ago. Mother had always said that he was trying to run from a skeleton.
My only thought was, poor boy. He had become an orphan, and the wild woods were no place for a little boy. Out in the horizon, I could see a tower rising above the treetops. Maybe they could help him and tell me if I was on the right track. That was the library both Blockport and probably the statue had talked about. I didn't waste time. I asked about the crystal, and they showed me up the stairs. When I found it, several people came over to me and talked about how special it was, and that a long time ago there had been a girl who had been looking for it. But even though she took it with her, it was suddenly back in its place. When I left, I found little Timmy and asked if he wanted to stay here. But he didn't want to stay there. He said they keep calling him George even though he said his name was Timmy. So I took him along, although I had no idea how to take care of him. I also wanted to go home, and what about Timmy? So what was he supposed to do? For now, I would take him to Blockport's house, and then we would have to figure out what was going to happen. I thought he could be allowed to grow up a bit, and I could at least feed him and teach him a thing or two. But now I have the crystal, and then there was only the trip to the portal left. I had decided to stay until Timmy was old enough to fend for himself or make a choice on his own. As time went on and Timmy got older, our friendship grew too. I taught him everything I knew about survival and how to farm, and I didn't try to influence him to make a choice. But very early on, he himself started by saying that he would go with me when the time came. Now we would see if he manages to change his mind, although I'd rather see him come with me.